रेणु re
A very warm welcome to the next vlog of Kriya Yoga. Well, we were talking about the Dhyan Yoga in Kriya Kundalini Yoga. I have tried to explain how in each and every step all the 8 Ashtanga Yogas are mandatory. Uh, the next that the platform that we are going to elevate to is the state of Samadhi. Before I do that, I would ask all the new viewers to come and subscribe to the channel. Also, they have, I think right now there are 4 playlists that are going on along with the live classes, live sessions wherein you can join me every Sunday at 7 p.m. in my live discussions, and there are topics that you people select. So, uh, I would like that if someone is new in this channel, they can go back to the playlist and they can learn from the very basics. If you have any questions, I am reachable to you. So don't worry that a huge fees will be charged to you, because we generally do not take any donations or any fees to answer your questions. So let's continue with our understanding of Dhyan Yoga. And while in our Dhyan system, just remember only one thing. The full process will be very easy for you people. The principle of Niyam, Pratyahar, Pranayam has to be induced in each and every level of Dhyana. When your body is connecting your mind, you will have to maintain that. Again, when your mind is getting connected with your soul, again the whole process do continue on mind level. And if your mind has stages, so you will have to repeat the whole process in every stage of your mind. When you are in soul, again you will find the different level of consciousnesses. Let's say that you are into a static conscious plane. Then also do never leave the practice of Ashtanga Yoga with your mind. Whenever you try to sit, first do the pranayam sitting at least 1 or 2, 3 times. Even if you have achieved a state of super consciousness, do practice. Even I do. Everyone does. Because whenever we are speaking with somebody, we are in this human form, we have to deal with so many people, so many factors in our lifetime. Today's date, there is no forest, so you cannot go in solitude to do practice your yoga. So when you are already in this society, you are residing within the society, you are residing in the forest of human beings. So you need to purify yourself, your mind, your thoughts, your thinking, your consciousness, blah, 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 blah. So it's a process. So do it every day. And it takes hardly, if you have practiced it, it takes hardly 3 to 4 minutes. So right now in this episode, we are going to concentrate on the stages of samadhi. The states of samadhi, it's a it's a very big bubble. Even in the hardcore dhyan yogis, because they have made it a platform of getting something sort of a certification to their yogic life. But spiritually speaking, samadhi is done even by animals other than human. Human is also an animal. But even every jeev does a samadhi, whether consciously or unconsciously. Now, samadhi is actually a state of superconscious, unconscious mind. If you are doing samadhi with total knowledge, you are not attaining the highest level. So that is the basics. Because each and every type of samadhi can be done from a nanosecond to few weeks, few years, and something like that, but not more than that. But it starts even with nanoseconds. Now, samadhis, according to the Vedic structures, are named in different stages. Mostly we have 10 states of samadhi. And these are various stages of consciousness which you achieve in your dhyanam state. So, the first or the foremost that we enter into, we generally do not understand that while we are doing the dhyan, we are actually entering into this. This is also you can say it's a nano state of samadhi, and this is, it can be actually stated as a higher form of dhyan itself. In this state, that the sadhak, he is immersed into his dhyan for at least say 2 to 3 hours. He finds himself in a state where he is unable to understand what is going on in his outer body or what is going on outside his outer body. This is the first stage of samadhi that even stays mostly for say around 5-6 seconds. And at that point of time, generally you train to see various other things. Other things means non-cosmic things. When you are into the stage of dharana, dhyan will come automatically. It is not something that is rocket science. It is not something that you will have to do mechanically. Basically, when your subconscious mind is already channelized through your internal energy, you leave behind all the mechanical instructions. At that point of time, whatever you are doing through your soul. Whatever you are thinking from your higher knowledge. You are attuned to your form of energies. You are attuned with your different soul level. While we get several prototype models for this concept, you can say it's a concept. So there are several prototypes, but it depends whether you are wanting to adhere to that prototype things, because it is multi-traditional. And various traditions, various religion has taught the same process in a variety of way, stating they are superior to the other, while it is all the same coin rotated in different form. So I will not enter into that broader kind of definitions or the classifications that we get for the dharana and the dhyan. But I will just try to explain you that what it is in a very normal yogic form that I have gone. So as I said, that what I have not done, I will not teach you. The only striking, you can say, the difference between whatever we are learning, hearing over the globe and over the WWW is in Sanatan Dharma, when you are into the Vedic structure, you will see that nothing states you that you will have to be over. Tantra or Agam, Ved, even the Vaishnav structures, they are the sampradayas in the Sanatan Dharma, but none of them makes it mandatory for you to do dhyan. Because a soul who is practicing the Ashtanga Yoga will automatically go over there. This is, you can say, the first prelim goal of any sadhana. So dhyan is done differently in different religion, but it's actually the same thing, whatever it is. The narratives that are set for your psychological upbringing, that's a different thing altogether. Over here, I will say something that in each and every religion there is, that the dualism and the non-dualism. When you are in dharana, there are various things that you ponder upon. You take help of symbols, idols, your guru's words, your guru himself. Basically, he is the main person. Your focus doesn't get divided. It comes to an one-pointedness. That can be your guru, that can be any symbol. Stating from home to there are various symbols across. You can do various asanas. You can do various pranayams. There are so many things, so many methods that I have also explained. But over here, the main thing is your energy to be channelized into a one formless. All the energies of your body transforms into one. So, whatever dualism you have, the more or the faster it gets undone is better for a dhyani. Dhyani who does the dhyan. The sadhak who is entering into the dhyan state. Over here, you are not a dharana person who can say that today my mind is not attuned and I am thinking of something else and I have some pressure, I have some very anxiety, I have some mind issues, I have some mental trauma and I can't do the dhyan. No. Over here what happens, whether you are in anxiety, whether you are in a mental health issue, whether you are having a huge pressure in your work area, whether you have huge pressure in your family, you dissolve everything in your dhyan. And you strive to get that energy which will let you take each and everything very calmly, very logically, and will just denounce the pressure part of it. The stress will be abolished. So next time, whenever you are stressed, try to do dhyan, not dharana. Dharana, you people generally do for 5 to 6 minutes or 7 minutes, 20 minutes. Dhyan, you will do at least 2.5 hours. So that's the secret principle that I always say, that if you are not sitting for 2.5 hours, don't come to me. Means if you are not in a state of doing dhyan, don't come to me, because you don't have a logical mind. You cannot understand what I am speaking. So anyway, in Jainism, you have Ratnyara. In Shaivism, Hinduism, you have various forms of dhyan. In Buddhism, there is a concept of a bhavana. Again, it's the awakening. In Christianity also, or in various Tibetan terminology also, you will find so many other things. Even this particular form of what we say, I'm forgetting the term. It has, yes, Vipassana. Now it is getting a hype. Everyone is trying to do Vipassana. They don't know what is Vipassana, basically, because it is a, you can say, just a fragment of the Vedic Dhyan system, wherein you learn nothing, your energy is gets hooked to various other things, your mind get delusioned, and you turn yourself into a puppet. Even we have the same things in Christianity and Islam also. And Baha'i faiths, they have even temples wherein they ask you to keep silent. And it's basically the outward silence has to be transformed into the silence of your mind, which never happens. So it's a very good place to go and sit over there. At least you will find that sanctity of your mind, but nothing else happens over there also. So basically I do not go over there, and I went over there only once in my life. In my whole life I have gone only once. So taking dhyan as the union of your mind will elaborate it to you in a very one single liner. Your reflection, your observation, your everything gets consolidated. You get concentrated. Your mind can relate very calmly to its outer situation and can attune itself to the inner situations. All the whirlpools is dissolved. All the turmoils, all the various different sortings of your mind is done. Now in dhyan, what is left is getting that union. Your mind is prepared when, means if I speak about the language of the farmers, the soil is prepared, it is being drenched with chemicals and manures of different kinds. It's being done with and is ready to be sown for the season. The four aims of life, that's the dharma, artha, kama and moksha. Over here, all the karmas are settled. Here, the sadhak is not attached with his karma, is not attached with his mind. He is ready for the union that he is going to have with his, not his self, but the super self. He is ready for the next stage of his transition, of his energy level of samadhi. And over here what happens is, it is flickers. Over here you will not be able to understand that which state your mind is. because here, when you are in the subconscious plane, you are conscious, you are subconscious, and you are attuned with your higher superior self. You can see him. What remains is hearing. So with that, I will conclude this episode of Dhyan. And in next episode, we will understand the most complex thing of Kriya Yoga, that is the Samadhi, the higher levels of Dhyan. Just remember, it is not climbing the hills anymore. Now it is plain. It is rather a swimming through the sea or below the sea. If you can think of that, then Samadhi and Dhyan will become very easy for you. That is what I have done, and that is what I have taught you. So subscribe me, and I will see you in the next episode.